Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari. Govinda Giridhari. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari.
Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Shama Sundara Madana Mohana Vrindavana Vihari.
Shama Sundara Madana Mohana.
Shama Sundara Madana Mohana Vrindavana Vihari.
Shama Sundara Madana.
Vrindavana Vihari, Govardhana Giridhari. Vrindavana Vihari, Govardhana Giridhari. Vrindavana Vihari, Govardhana Giridhari. Vrindavana Vihari, Govardhana Giridhari. Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari.
Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Shama Sundara Madana Mohana Vrindavana Vihari.
Shama Sundara Madana Mohana Vrindavana Vihari.
Vrindavana Vihari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Vrindavana Vihari, Govardhana Giridhari.
Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari.
Govinda, Govinda, Govinda Giridhari.
Govinda Giridhari.
Giridhari.
Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki.
Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavitvaram. We stand as one family, bound to each other with love and respect. We serve as an army, courageous and disciplined, ever ready to fight against all low tendencies and false values. This is what we discussed, and little more we saw. What are the false tendencies outside? False tendencies within, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, all that are within. The monsters or the demons we have inside, we need to get rid of them. What are the things, false values or low tendencies outside? Within and without. What is outside? When there is a righteous cause, we need to support it. We should stand up for it. At that time, when we do not stand up for it, then we are not fighting low tendencies, false values outside. So if there is a situation, we need to stand up for it. We must stand up for it. For that, we need the kind of courage, conviction, both are needed. So if there is something which is not appropriate, Gurudev would stand up for it. Like yesterday I mentioned about the time of emergency in India. He stood up. Many issues, he would stand up saying, this is it. You have to tell the truth, tell the truth. So we need to do both ways. One is for inside, and outside we owe to the world. After all, the world in which we live, we have benefited from it, and we need to do the right things there. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. We live honestly the noble life of sacrifice and service. Life, when we are living, we should know that at some point of time we should give more than what we have taken. Then only we will balance the debts what we have. Otherwise, we have been taking from the world. When are we going to give it? And Swamiji's life was like that, Gurudev's life. One of our devotees with whom in Chennai I was talking, Gurudev did 525 plus yajnas, talks on the Gita and all that. That old Amma, she said, not just that he did yajnas, his life was a yajna. Now that's a very beautiful statement. That his life itself was a yajna. What is yajna? Giving more than what we take. We live here and we give, giving. So he lived a life which can be termed as yajna, not that he was only performing yajnas. Now, the last line we saw was, we seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. He lived this life, being in the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. I would like to read out a beautiful introduction of Gurudev. We have seen so many people introducing Swamiji, devotees talking about him, in official meetings and all that. How would he be introduced by a person who was not a believer? Now, that is interesting, isn't it? A non-believer, how would he introduce Gurudev? This is a person by name Pritish Nandi. He was a journalist for Mirror and author now and all that. So he introduces Gurudev, and I want you to see that so that we understand how Swamiji was living a life of virtue, courage, and wisdom. His introduction was really fascinating. He wears a strange shade of ochre, which looks almost like pink. His introduction, okay? There are silver knobs to his wooden sandals. Look at a journalist coming from a school of thought of non-believers. So, in the course of discussion, I may use the term left liberal. Now, left liberal in India is completely different to left liberal here. Okay. In case if I say something like that, it pertains to the Indian mindset of left liberal. Okay. So he says, he comes from that school of thought. Non-believer can't accept any sadhu, had a lot of aversion. So he says, he wears a strange shade of ochre, which looks almost like pink. There are silver knobs on his wooden sandals. Journalist, right? A sadhu, should he wear silver? Wears a silver knobs to his wooden sandals, which adds at least 3 inches to his height. He's a tall man already, wears a wooden sandal which goes 3 inches tall. His long tresses cascade on his shoulders, framing with black and gray an intensely intelligent face. His long tresses cascade on his shoulders, framing with black and gray an intensely intelligent face. Swami Chinmayananda, 65, when he wrote this was in 1980. Okay. Swami Chinmayananda, 65, is Hinduism's answer to countless young men and women who have strayed away over the years, disgusted with meaningless rituals and tired theology of the world's oldest living faith. You see the introduction? Swami Chinmayananda, who is 65, is an answer to countless young men and women, young people. He says, these are countless young men and women who have strayed away over the years, disgusted with meaningless rituals and tired theology of world's oldest living faith. A distinguished scholar, an ardent teacher, and a compulsive globetrotter, the Swami is today held to be one of the few serious, credible missionaries. Serious, credible missionaries that Hinduism has to offer. Now, an atheist, a non-believer, is acknowledging Gurudev is credible. You understand? For him, others whom he perceives, he doesn't put in that category. So he says here, Swami is today held to be one of the few serious, credible missionaries that Hinduism has to offer. His missions are all over the world. So are his devotees and students. And they are growing in a rate which will soon perhaps make Swami Chinmayananda number one in the pantheon of gurus, rishis, bhagavans, babas, who hold a sway over India's millions and many abroad. You see him as is kind of a description that the sadhus, rishis, gurus have a control of millions of people in India and many abroad. You know, like they have a control. And in that category, he is turning out to be number one. Okay, introduction, right? Who hold a sway over Indians, millions and abroad. In many ways, now he's coming to the point. In many ways, this is the best thing that could have happened to Hinduism. You see his introduction? In many ways, this is the best thing that could have happened to Hinduism. And he says why. For the Swami is no quack healer or a fast buck merchant. So how do these people look at us? You understand the millions. I want you to think that school of thought. Who is a Swami? A quack healer? A fast buck merchant? You know, why this person is, this is the best that could have happened to Hinduism. Why? He says, for the Swami is no quack healer or fast buck merchant. He offers no miracles to lure the gullible. You see his mind? He offers no miracles and all that to lure the gullible. Otherwise, the gullible go to all these people. He doesn't offer any miracle to lure the gullible. He makes no prediction. There are no predictions he makes. He makes no predictions, reads no fortunes, and sings pageants to no politicians. He never goes and sings in praise of a politician and all that. Swamiji was direct with anybody. He doesn't do all this. He makes no claims of being a god except for the argument's sake. Vedanta debate, that time you say, we are divine, everyone is divine. But otherwise he doesn't make a claim, I am divine, I am God, and you are ignorant, nothing of that kind. He makes no claims to being God except for argument's sake, nor does he offer you for a fee the quick route to nirvana. What does he offer to you? A fee, for a fee, quick route to nirvana. He simply teaches. That's the introduction. You understand? How these people perceive, their perception we need to know. That he is not a quack healer. He is not a person who can predict. He is not, a fast buck merchant. Things like that. He doesn't go and sing pageants to the politicians, praising them and all that. He is direct. The king once asked the saint Tyagaraja to sing his glory. Tyagaraja refused. He said, forget it. I am here to sing the Lord's glory. I can't go on praising around all these people. So never would. And Gurudev was that way. He never went around any political power center, nothing. If they want to follow, they follow. He never went praising, calling them that way, nothing. So he says, so he doesn't do all this. So what does he do? He says, nor does he offer you for a fee the quick route to nirvana. He simply teaches. Then he says, he is best known for his interpretation on the Gita. Almost every day of the year, somewhere or other, in Bonn or Bangkok, Bombay or Baltimore, he has a class on. He's either trying to explain Arjuna's dilemma in the midst of the battle or innate logic of Krishna's persuasion. This is what he's teaching anywhere in the globe. This is what he's teaching. Innate logic of Krishna's persuasion. Nor all his students are Hindus. Neither are they all believers in any religion. More often they come out of curiosity to see the Swami defend a faith grown old, decayed by centuries of blind belief and senile commitment to rituals. Many people go to him that all this is closed and over, like it's done and finished. How can Hinduism even be there? There's nothing scientific. Bundle of superstitions, senile commitment to ritual. This is what it is. And how is this Swami defending it? How is he defending something of this which we all thought is over? A young mind thought this is all done and finished and there is nothing now, it can't even come back. How is this person capable of defending? So many people go there to listen to him out of curiosity. Not that many went that way. They came because they want knowledge. And he was offering. This guy was of that kind. This Pritish Nandi was of that kind. So he went there. How is this man defending something which was already closed case, So he says, neither are they all believers in any religion. More often they come out of curiosity to see the Swami defend a faith grown old and decayed by centuries of blind belief and senile commitment to rituals. There are the usual pot-bellied devotees who come to donate fractions of their ill-gotten wealth in a hope of buying happiness in another life. In his perception, who are the followers? They go there so that if they do donate something, they'll get punya somewhere, There is a one variety of such people who go there. So he says, there are usual pot-bellied devotees. Okay. Pot-bellied devotees who come to donate fractions of their ill-gotten wealth in a hope of buying happiness in another life. There are the same bunch of rich, semi-literate women in chiffons and diamonds who attend every religious event wearing the same moronic demeanor. Pritish Nandi, okay. He's taking a dig, of people, both men and women, he takes a dig. These kind of people are also around him. That's what he wants to say. Then he says, there are also, thank God, the young ones, from whom the Swami derives his largest following. Pleasant-faced young people, quietly listening to the voice of religion. I'm reading this out just to make you understand how a non-believer, an atheistic who doesn't believe in any of this, what is his perception of sadhus in general and what he sees in Gurudev. Swami Chinmayananda is naturally not his real name. He was born P. Balakrishna Menon on 8th May 1916, somewhere in the Malabar. Somewhere in Kerala, Malabar he was born. There is nothing very brilliant about this particular Malayali child. There's nothing brilliant about him. There's nothing, brilliant about this Malayali child who grew up eventually and joined the National Herald as a cub reporter. He joined the nationalist movement in 1941 and was briefly jailed. On release, he went to Rishikesh to meet Swami Shivananda Saraswati to write a journalistic piece on religion racket. This only went there to write about Swami Shivananda, religion racket. The Swami persuaded the young skeptic to stay back for 6 months at his ashram to see things firsthand. By end of the 6th month, Balakrishna Menon gave up his name and his profession and assumed the name of Chinmayananda. From Rishikesh at the foot of Himalayas, he went further north to spend 10 years at the feet of Tapovan Maharaj, the well-known sage. While Swami Shivananda Saraswati gave him his name and his robes, it is Swami Tapovan Maharaj who educated him in the Shastras. Now he says, much of this, of course, is hearsay. Much of this, of course, is hearsay. There is no official biography of Swami Chinmayananda, unlike most other gurus. Now, what he is appreciating, you understand? You have to know what approach he's saying. What is he appreciating? Here is a man who did not brag about himself. He worked there without bragging. And all this, what I've heard, that he went to Shivananji and all this is hearsay. It's all hearsay. There is no official, there is no official biography of Swami Chinmayananda, unlike most other gurus. He offers very little information about himself or his achievement in the mission handouts, books or lecture papers. When I asked him about his past, he laughed it away and said, he must have asked, tell me, what are you? Is that some past? When I asked him about his past, he laughed it away and said, never ask a Swami his past. If you knew the source of a river, would you ever drink from it? Don't ask. Why are you? Is that a very valid question that you are asking about his past? He said, don't ask, will you ever drink? He is modest. Now he comes to his qualities. He is modest. This is something many young people who are skeptical admire. A person should be modest. He is modest, intelligent, accessible. Now look at the things he's admiring. He is modest, intelligent, accessible. You can have access to him. You can reach him. There are no layers of barricades. That you want to reach him, you can reach him. He is accessible. He speaks with a sing-song accent, often mispronounces his words, but that he does it deliberately. We all know that. If Gurudev has to say a word, try, he won't say try. Probably he'll drag it. Try. You understand? Anything, he plays with that way too, just the whole that intention. Often mispronounces his words. He speaks with a sing-song accent and often mispronounces his words, but his passion shows. Hinduism is the religion of our times. He asserts it with confidence. His passion shows that, and this he asserts. Hinduism is the religion of our times. He asserts with confidence. I met him over 2 long sessions at Calcutta. 2 long sessions. Watched him deliver quite a few famous Gita lectures. He's a journalist who has done his homework. Go, listen everywhere and then come to him. Watched him deliver quite a few famous Gita lectures. Saw some of his missions. Not that he just went to the master, he went to the centers and saw how the missions are. Like he has done his assessment completely. Gita lectures and saw some of his missions. Listen to him articulate his views on life and death. Relevant topics. You understand? On life and death, freedom and spiritual bondage. These are the kind of topics he speaks. I have seen him articulate. Life and death, freedom and spiritual bondage, religion in action and existence of God. These are the topics he speaks, articulate. I saw the tired lines on his face as he smiled and bore the fawning and sycophancy of his devotees, suffered stupid questions about the behavior of stock exchange, drank coffee and fruit juice from persistence hostess at half an hour interval. Every half an hour, Swamiji, drink this, drink that, that way. Half an hour interval. It must be tough to be a guru. Now, Pritesh Nandi is telling Gurudev, it must be tough to be a guru. I said to him, after particularly a tiresome session, because he observed Gurudev, he works 18 hours. So he said, it must be tough to be a guru. I said to him, after a particularly tiresome session, not tough, it is lonely, said Hinduism's most famous hostage. You see the introduction, huh? He said, it's not tired, it is lonely, Hinduism's most famous hostage. I love this introduction. It is because it is not coming from people who believe, people who are seekers. It is a non-seeker who is strong, very strong in his views, in not accepting any of what sadhus and all that do. This person has quite keenly observed Gurudev. When he observed him so closely, when he saw all this, and that person started admiring. You understand? He started admiring. And I would like to read the next question. Now, that was the introduction, but he had 1-2 questions, which would be very, very relevant for us to understand many things on the vision of Swamiji. So he asks, why do you give so much importance to the study of the Bhagavad Gita? You seem to imply that Gita is the only way to gain insight into the Indian mind, into the Indian sensibility. Don't you think other religious texts are of equal importance? Think. Look at the question. Why do you give so much importance to the study of Bhagavad Gita? You seem to imply that Gita is the only way to gain insight into the Indian mind, into the Indian sensibility. Don't you think other religious texts are of equal importance? Gurudev's answer, this is where he said he is modest. Like he's accessible, he's modest. Gurudev's answer, every religious textbook is of equal importance. But I have no authority to recommend books I have not studied myself. Now, he won't have expected an answer of that kind. He won't have expected an answer. Probably he would have said all these books, but why I chose Gita? He said, I cannot recommend, I have no authority to recommend books I have not studied myself. I studied the Gita and it was great help to me. And therefore, I recommend it to everyone. Unlike other scriptures, the methodology followed by Gita appears to be more conducive. Now look at the language, Gurudev's answer. The methodology followed by Gita appears to be more conducive to the modern, scientific-minded, and educated classes. To Pritesh Nandi, it's for people like you. You understand? Hey, that's how we articulate. This is for people like you. More conducive to the modern, scientific-minded, and educated classes. For they don't believe in anything. They want everything to be rationally proved, intellectually defensible. And the approach of Gita is very rational because Krishna had to address. Now look at the description of Arjuna. Krishna had to address a dynamic, young, educated, intelligent man who was born skeptic. Who is Arjuna? Who is Arjuna? To whom is religion applicable? Look at the approach. Look at that, the choice of words he says, They want everything to be rationally proved, intellectually defensible. And the approach of Gita is very rational because Krishna had to address dynamic, young, educated, intelligent man who was born skeptic. To this is Arjuna, and to him Krishna was addressing. Therefore, I choose Gita because this kind of people would take to it. Because you can't go by blind belief. It has to have a support of logic. Arjuna did not believe or understand that Krishna was an intellectual giant. Arjuna did not believe nor understand that Krishna was an intellectual giant. It was only in the 11th chapter that he got a glimpse, Vishwarupa Darshan, got a glimpse, and thereafter his attitude changed. Because after that he saw, I'm not talking to my friend, the person in front of me is divine himself, After that his attitude changed. But till the 11th chapter, he was absolutely rational. He did not believe a word of what Krishna said. Krishna had to make him believe it by the strength of logic. This approach appeals to people like you and I. Pritesh Nandi, this approach of Krishna appeals to people like you and I. It converted me from an atheist to a believer. Just saying, you relax, man. I have gone through this journey. Don't ask me all these questions. I know it. I know what I'm talking about. And I know to whom am I talking to. So he says, it converted me from an atheist to a believer. When he said that, Pritesh Nandi must have made a set of questions, to ask. And suddenly Gurudev is putting a question in his head for him to ask. So naturally, when he said it converted me from an atheist to a believer, Pritish's next question, probably, definitely not in the syllabus, out of syllabus, you were an atheist? Oh, you were an atheist? He put that question by the last line there. So and Gurudev's answer, this is one of the most powerful, beautiful answer. He says, you were an atheist. Of course, any intelligent, rational man is an atheist until, of course, he is initiated into religion. Until, of course, he is initiated into religion. So when you write and attack religious people at times, now Gurudev also, he knew who is coming for an interview. He would have done his background check. What is this guy? What kind of articles he writes? Because he's asked for his time. So he would have done. So he says, so when you write and attack religious people, at times, I sympathize with you because I was also like that. Once I was like that. So when you do it, I sympathize with you. Okay. And now he says, now this is where it is. I sympathize with you because I was also like that. I also thought religion meant ritualism. That's what I also thought. I never knew there was a science to it. That ritualism was just a bark. Look at the defense. He said, he defends. In the introduction, he said, people come to watch him. How he defends, he says, I never knew there was science to it. That ritualism was just a bark, the outer bark of a great tree that shelters the whole community. The bark is necessary for the tree, but the bark is not the tree. That's why what I try to explain to young people like you. Ritualism is just a outer bark. It is not the tree. But that bark is necessary for the tree. You see, look at, and he knew, because twice, he has taken a dig on ritualism. Even in his introduction, if you see, and they must have asked questions, why ritual, senile people follow this, all that, he said, no. In a tree which shelters the community, the outer bark is the rituals, which protects the tree. That is not the tree, but it protects the tree. Remove rituals, where is philosophy? Practical philosophy. Can we tell somebody? Tell a 5-year-old child, no rituals, nothing. Meditate upon God, which you can't see, neither smell, nor taste, nor touch. Can you hear? Can a child understand? You have to give a form, some position, some action, some little things. That's all the child can connect. You need this at the outer stage. At the early stage, when you reach a point, you may not need it later. But at one point of time, you need it. Look at that, how he is defending. Virtue, courage, and wisdom. When a person in front of him is coming and asking him, he assesses that so well, so clearly, and then he answers. And the language which he chooses, the choice, wisdom, that these people will understand, because they identify with them as what? Young, dynamic, scientific, born skeptic, who will not believe in anything. He could convince that group of people. He could convince that group of people. When that group of people get convinced, everybody else who are in front of them would be. So when he is preparing his talk, when he's going to address the public, he will keep this variety in his mind. Address their questions also, because they are the ones who have questioning. You must keep that in mind and do. That's why he said, here is a man who defends, which everybody else thought is gone, done and gone. This religion is no use, pack it up. But he defends. People come there to be curious. And what kind of people they are? Young. Who is Arjuna? Born skeptic, who will not believe anything. The choice. These are the, like in communication, the method he has chosen, the method he took it up to say. And what is the general perception? I tell you, I was in one program. It was a program where different spiritual organizations, saints, Mahatmas, were thanking one of the chief ministers in India because she took a stand on some religious regulations. Otherwise, we did not know the kind of conversion was happening and all that. She brought some regulation. A law was brought on anti-conversion. So we said, since she brought all this, let's thank. So we are sitting on stage. I was also called to speak, representing Chinmaya Mission. It was a huge stage. Kanchi Shankaracharya, Jayendra Swami was there, and many people were there. I mean, well-known Ramakrishna Mission Swamis were all there. Program was going on. Halfway through the program, one of the mutt heads are coming. Halfway through. Late, already program started. Coming late, and that's the space kept for that person. He has to occupy that. Comes with 2 disciples. Late, other Mahatmas are sitting on stage. They come, take a little water, sprinkle. Can you imagine? Sprinkling little water on the stage. Shuddhi. Then you put a mat, and then a simhasana, and he sits there. What would be the perception of others who are saying this? 1 year late. Another is a common program going on. All other Mahatmas like Ramakrishna Mission Swamis and all are there. And you come sprinkle water. How many people who have this kind of commitments? In that kind of a crowd, to see somebody like Gurudev standing tall and convincing the non-believing scientific minds to it, think. The approach, not many do it. And how are they looking? I mean, you need to understand, this is very, very important, how a population of young people trained to think in a particular way, how are they looking at us? Oh, you're going to a spiritual organization. Something wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why now at this age? Perception. And who are sadhus? Fast buck merchant, quack healer, someone who can predict. I mean, these are the perceptions. Against all such perceptions, he stood there, gave a completely different version. That's why he said, this person is modest. That answer was so beautiful, isn't it? How can I recommend a book which I have not read? I won't recommend it. Gita helped me. Why? Because it is logical. It is supported with the strength of logic Krishna was trying to explain. Modest, accessible. He could reach him straight. Would have been so easy for him to get there, to Gurudev. Would have written a letter and Swamiji would have said, okay, come, let's meet. Accessible. And more than anything else, what he loves is this man simply teaches. What does he do? He simply teaches. He doesn't do any of these. He teaches. Now that is very important. There is nothing mystical or anything of that. He just go there, he will teach. And he made our organization that way, isn't it? Chinmaya Mission is a knowledge-based organization. It is not person-based. It's Gurudev's culture. He set the organization that way, that it is a knowledge-based organization. It never depends on persons. See the vision. That's why he is also saying, like at every time we go back to the authentic source, we interpret the books. Shastra is taught. So he says that. He's modest, he's accessible, he simply teaches. So that is one of those most beautiful qualities. And if you go into those three words, virtue, courage, and wisdom, these three, if we can develop, we would have these qualities. Virtue, courage, wisdom. What is values? Stick to it. Let us not compromise. Gurudev never compromised. No, this is a value we keep. He won't compromise. I'll tell you two incidents where I was directly there when this happened. We have a school, Chinmaya Vidyalaya in Chennai. We have 4-5 schools there. One is in Keelpok, Taylor's Road. A school has to be built. Huge building. We have already moved children, and school is something which once you start developing, you need every year a classroom to be built. So the people have to shift from the old building to a new building, and we have decided to demolish the old building, and that's where Heritage Center has come, in my Heritage Center. So this building was to be built. He's the only one who was around that time to raise funds. Nobody was there. All others were like, we couldn't do anything. One person has to do it. And it is a board meeting. He has to go to raise funds. If it is one of us that within 3 months or 4 months, if you don't raise the funds, you can't make that building. If you can't make the building, the children who are moving from this place can't fit in. It's a responsibility we have taken. The level of tension we would have would be completely different. He was relaxed. About to go for that meeting, he is reading asterisks. Asterisks reading. Before a board meeting, That too of that important meeting, reading asterisks, keeps it, comes there to the board meeting and goes and talks. And naturally, I mean, the Gurudev's presence was very different. So he looked at the trustees who were all sitting there and he said, one Devraj uncle was there, old devotee, known to Gurudev from 50s. He said, he looked and, said, Devraj, what are you supporting? Straight. So Devraj uncle, something he said, something like 2 lakhs or something he would give. Swamiji, demand was almost 1 crore that time. He said something like 2 lakhs. How would one respond? He said, what? Swamiji, 5 lakhs, Swamiji. He's a devotee. And then he looked at another person, Nambyar, how much, how much? And with the known sources, he got it down to 45, 50 lakhs of rupees, 3-4 minutes. And he said, I have brought after money, you raise the rest. Half the money you raised from where? From the trustees only. And then you're telling the trustees, now I have raised half, you raise the other half. And like that. And he knew, it's God's work, funds will come. At that time, one person said, Swamiji, there is one person here. He wants to donate money to our school. Was feasible amount, he said, but they want 1 seat every year. You understand? We need money, desperate. You need that money within 4 months to do it. School has to come. And here is someone who would like to give something like 10 lakhs of rupees, which is just 1/10 of the money required is being offered with a condition. What was the condition? 1 seat. That they would demand a seat and we should give that 1 seat. He said, no. Tell him that he can't throw conditions on a sannyasi. If the child is eligible, we will give. Otherwise, no. Go tell him. We don't want money. You need funds at that time, and there is an offer, but look at the virtue, the value. He doesn't want to compromise on the system. For many people, it would have been so easy to compromise. Just say, it's okay, 1 seat only, na? 1 seat we can manage, we are getting some funds, work would be easy. No, he said, no. No compromise. He said, nothing. You're giving, give unconditionally. How can you give money to a sannyasi with conditions? Unconditional. Because he is so confident there is no selfishness in his work. He wants a school. For whose sake is that school? There is no selfishness in his motive, work, intention. Therefore, that strength comes in his words. There's no selfishness. Nothing doing. No need. The Lord will give. It is his work. He'll give. When someone offered Vivekananda some donation, Swami Vivekananda 100 years ago, one of the philanthropists from this land, he took the money and he didn't even say thank you. He first came, he did not meet him, and next day he came, gave some donation, he just took it and said, went on. So he asked him, you won't say thank you? I gave donation to you, you won't say thank you? You know what was Vivekananda's reply? He was not still known to the world except for the Parliament of Religion. Vivekananda said, you should be thankful I accepted your donation. My work is God's work. If not you, somebody God will send. Look at the purity of that heart. There is no intention of selfishness. We do this for God, God will give. That is the strength, that is the virtue. No compromise. No way. Why compromise on it? This kind of virtue we should keep. The values we believe in, on that we should not compromise. This is pledge. Taking up something, I will not compromise. Another occasion, I tell you, this was in Tirupati, Yajna, Gurudev's Yajna. This was in 1988. Yajna was to happen, and Tirupati Devasthanam, the board which governs the temple, they said they will organize this yajna. Everything is set. 3-4 days to go for the yajna. Everything is set. Then they send a condition. Tirupati Devasthanam, board of officials, government officials, throw a condition saying that Swami Chinmayananda's yajna's expense we are taking care fully. Therefore, he should not collect Guru Dakshina on the last day. Guru Dakshina in a town like Tirupati in 1988 would be probably 10,000 rupees. It will not be more than that. The expenses for the yajna collection and with a crowd and every other arrangement would go far beyond 10,000 rupees. They are saying, we are doing all these expenses, why should he collect? Now, this is not a Hindu mind, you understand. It is someone else who has gone into the system. From there, they are throwing questions, you understand. A proper, well-trained, healthy Hindu mind would never speak this. So officials, different people get placed. So they raised this question and said, no, you should not collect. 3 days before the talks, he said, nothing doing. That is our tradition. The student will feel the urge to give something to the Guru. It is our tradition, we will follow. Tirupati Devasthanam had guts to call it off. They said, then we back off. We are not going to sponsor your yajna. 3 days before they withdrew. He was in Chennai when this happened. Immediately he asked us, we were all in Yuva Kendra, and Swami Siddhananda was there that time. He was Brahmachari Siddha Chaitanya. He said, you guys can take this up. We said, anything we'll do. 3 days is enough. We will go and organize a yajna. We went 3 days. We did whatever has to be done in those 3 days. The publicity, the ground, everything was fixed. Yajna happened. Usual crowd. Everybody came. But he was keen not to compromise. Most people would have said, okay, they are doing it, it's all right. No, he said, this is our tradition. Why should we give it up? And is it not true? When we have benefited, we would like to give something. And to Tirupati and all that, he would go once in how many years? 5 years, 6 years, or even later. He said, no compromise. Gurudev had that strength. Virtue. Fearless, courage, virtue. And many people around the world wanted to come to Tirupati because Swamiji is doing a yajna in Tirupati. They can go to Tirupati Devasthanam, the temple, and have a darshan. So a lot of people in different parts of the country and abroad were coming to Tirupati yajna. The hotels were booked and all that, they were staying. Now, the Tirupati Devasthanam was acting really crazy. It only shows someone else who sat there with a highly prejudiced mind. They said, we will let only Swamiji through the main door to the temple. All other followers of his have to come through the queue. Tirupati Devasthanam people said. And this was not what they were saying earlier. Swamiji with the devotees of 10, 12 people who are there, they can walk with him. They said, no. We will let only him. Others have to come in the queue. He said, I'm not going. Fine. I'm not going. If you're not going to do this, you're going to put a condition of this kind. Imagine government officials. He said, no, I'm not coming. He didn't go. Don't look at his conviction. This is not fair. You guys can't say things like this. I come with my people. There are 10, 12 people, they'll come. And and they do this. If a local MLA or a politician goes that, they have this. And here they said, no, I didn't go. I was with him that time, just like we were preparing for the yajna doing, and we stayed. This was in the hotel. Next room to Gurudev was our room, and 5, 6 of us were there, youngsters. And one group from Chennai came, 40, 50 people on the third day of the yajna. They came because they know that Gurudev is there. We will meet him, and also to go to Tirupati. Their plan was that. So one Harisham, who is the secretary of Chinmaya Mission Chennai, he was in Chik that time. He was there. Me and another boy, Sundar, we were there. So Harisham came and told Gurudev, Swamiji, I'm going to temple for darshan. He said, there's a long queue there. Tirupati queue, long queue there. He said, no, Swamiji, we are going in the special ticket. He said, that also has long queue. He was just saying, just casually. Then he looked at Sundar, because he came with him. Are you going? Sundar said, no, Swamiji, I'm not going. Then he looked at me, are you going? I said, no way. I'm not going. Why will I go? I've been there from day one, before the yajna could happen. And he is not going. Why will I go? We were moving in Hotel Bimas in a lift from ground floor. He takes me in his arms. And then he looks at that boy Harisham, joking, okay? He says, if we go, they have to buy a special ticket to see us. We are not going. It was a moment, like him we are going on a lift, and he says, if we go, they need to buy a special ticket. But he took a stand. I said, don't throw conditions on me. I'm here for some work. You guys are not even qualified. Don't bring these different ideological views on a sannyasi. No compromise. Virtue. Always. That virtue. What we are convinced about, let us be sure we will not compromise. We need that strength. We seek the Lord's grace. It can't come to us. We must seek the Lord's grace. Oh Lord, bless me. Give me that grace to keep us on the path of virtue. Give me that strength, O Lord, so that I do not compromise. Great value for us in life. Because to compromise is so easy, isn't it? And every time when we compromise, what do? We give up something higher for something lower, isn't it? Something higher is given up for the lower. That is compromise. We should not compromise. And sacrifice is completely different. Sacrifices, we give up the lower for the higher. Drop the lower for the higher sacrifice. Compromise, we should not. Why should we give up the higher? This strength the Guru had. He was there like that. On many cases. It could be an easy way out. He said, no. We seek the Lord's grace. Oh Lord, bless me with virtue to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. Bless me with courage. Another quality which was there in him. With courage, no compromise, still stood life like that, fearless. And I tell you, his fearlessness is contagious. When you are around him, it rubs into you, seriously. Because you see him that way, and then you feel, what am I scared of? It makes us introspect. What are we scared of? Scared of what? No compromise. Courage, always. And yesterday also we discussed, courage comes from detachment. Courage comes only from detachment. If we do not have sufficient detachment, sannyasa, if we do not have sufficient detachment, we can't be fear. I mean, we would be scared of things, living life in fear. And Swamiji was not attached to anything. He was not attached. And he lived his life till the end, fearless. How many of us would take extra caution? He was not. I'll tell you one incident. It shows his compassion, his virtue, his fearlessness, his wisdom. Very touching incident this is. There was one man in Chennai was known to an extent like a don. Understand don? Underworld don is known that way. Owned a couple of theaters. Runs illicit liquor. Liquor was banned. And he would run illicit liquor. Produce illicit liquor. And known for all kinds of negative character. He will come to meet Gurudev. Now imagine Swamiji is sitting in the house and he walks inside. When this person walks inside, others would be like, oh my God, he has come. Why is he here? Notable, known, and in the city they know it for sure. He would come, sit, Swamiji will give him fruit, talk to him sometime. And he can't speak much of English either to understand Gurudev, but he will come. Very little English he can speak. And this used to go on. And in Bhiksha pictures and also you will find, when Samashti Bhiksha is there, he'll be sitting in, and there are pictures. So we would say, why this guy? General people would be that way. One day he announced, my next yajna, so-and-so will inaugurate it. Inaugurate Gurudev's yajna. This person will inaugurate my yajna. Can you think of it? Now, there was one Professor Vasudevan and a few others. They said, hey, we must go tell Swamiji. This is not okay. Swamiji may not know about him. So let us tell, it can't be okay. And so they went and told Swamiji, you do not know about this person. He is known. We will hit headlines next day morning if they have to see him with you inaugurating the yajna. We will know all this. No, Swamiji, don't allow him to inaugurate. To who are you talking? To whom can we? To Gurudev. So Gurudev said, nothing. I made my mind. He'll do it. Now people did not know what to do with him. And Gurudev said, he'll do it, and went off. 6 months before the yajna, Gurudev was inquiring, is the yajna work happening, all this. And he said, don't forget, he will inaugurate. Wrote a letter again. Don't forget. Now inauguration happens. Yajna, Tinagar, Ramakrishna Mission ground. 12,000 people must be there listening to him. This man walks in with Gurudev on stage. Inauguration. It's like everybody would say, with whom are you associating? He takes a letter and he reads. He says, Swami Chinmayananda wrote this letter to me 6 months ago. And the words are, I have faith in you. I have faith in you. Go to Parthasarathi temple, Krishna temple. Go to Parthasarathi temple daily from today. 6 months before the yajna, every day morning you go to the temple. What is to live an austere life? No alcohol, no liquor, no smoking, everything is road. No non-vegetarian food, all like what it would be. Lead a life like this and be dharmic for next 6 months. You are pure enough to inaugurate the yajna. The man was crying reading it out. We're standing there and watching. Look at him. He didn't bother what the world will say, what who will say. Here is a person who has come to him. Why would he close the door? Others can say what they want. Let him come. No compromise. Courage, wisdom, combination you see there. Let people say what they want. If they're going to write something bad about us, let them write. That Swamiji has a connection with the underworld, and you go and say, I don't bother. The man in front of me is important. He was not scared of what the media would respond. He was least bothered about all that. The man read that letter out. This is how it happened. What must be his compassion, love and affection for him? We discussed yesterday, isn't it, love? When he connected with people, he connected with pure affection. No compromise. We seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. If we get these three, oh Lord, thank you for blessing us to get, we get these three, then imagine what will be our life. Moment we are blessed with these three, just imagine, just think. Sufficient, isn't it, to take us through? Look at the depth of that line. We can't do it by ourselves. We would compromise. We won't have the strength. Oh Lord, I need your strength. I need your grace. We seek your grace. Please bless us to stay on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. Wisdom. Wisdom comes from understanding the Shastras and contemplating on it. Not just Shravana. Listening, reading alone is not enough. When we contemplate upon the scriptural texts, if we know the art of contemplation on it, we will definitely have wisdom. With that wisdom, we will get a higher vision to live life. Virtue will be there. Through that wisdom, we will not be attached to anything. Detachment will be there. Fearlessness will be. Very beautifully, we can see how he lived his life. These words, what I said, you can see it. Life full of virtue, courage, and wisdom. And the methods in which he would respond. Small things he would suggest which would make a big difference. There was one person by name Manian. He made a magazine in Tamil for spiritual magazine, religious spiritual magazine. Now he comes there saying, Swamiji, bless me. I need to take this magazine and a new thing I've started. First time, there's a Tamil spiritual magazine which would be sold on the stands, which will cover. So when this person came, Gurudev was explaining detail how to do a magazine, what all should be there, what would sell. He told him all these points. Your magazine should cover these kind of temples, this one, that one. He wrote various things, cover texts in Tamil language, various things, all that. And then he says, what should make people get to your magazine first? He gives him an idea. In different temples you get prasad, kumkum or vibhuti. In every month when you're releasing one, attach a sachet. Palani prasadam, Lord Muruga's temple prasadam. One Tirupati, Kanyakumari, one sachet you attach. Magazine sold out. See the creativity, innovation, completely. And this person it's not even our magazine. You understand? It's a person who's starting, just came to him and free consultant. If someone else, imagine for a sold out idea like this, what would have been your demand? For him, it is like Hindu magazine has to go out. People have to read. They need to know about all this. He is doing my work. Maybe there's commercial interest in it, but the work is something which is important for us. What kind of an idea that is? Put a sachet to the magazine. So, you get a magazine with some temple prasad attached to it. And next month, prasad will be from this temple. Now, you're sitting at home. You can't go to the temple. Some puja done there. This gets attached to the magazine. And next month, I'll get this. You go buy. Now look at the values he had added to that. First, that value of keeping chandan, kumkum, vibhuti. We'll all be interested. That is our culture. You must be proud enough to have it. A value generated for it. Magazine. Look at the man's innovation. Completely new idea. No one ever thought. You sit with him and he throws a suggestion, which is so doable, and the man did it, and the magazine was a big hit. Jnana Bhumi, it was called. I mean, look at the clarity, the wisdom, the vision. I think if we can practice these three, virtue, courage, and wisdom, our journey would be through. We would walk through that. We will reach there. These three, if we take these three, we should get there. I'll read that quote of his, which is very appropriate. Very beautiful quote. I'm sure many of you would have read this before. The journey is long. Our journey is long. Any idea how long it is? You know how long we have journeyed already? Aneka janma samprapta. Not this life, few years. Aneka janma. Sometime as man, sometime as woman, sometime as plant, animal. The journey which we have gone through, the journey is long. The journey is long, and alone you have to walk. This journey we have to walk alone. Alone you have to walk. With love and devotion, serve all on the way. The journey is long, alone we must walk. With love and devotion, serve all on the way. Whoever comes on our way, serve them with love and devotion. Devotion, the person in front of us is the manifestation of the divine. Namaste, that's what we say. Serve all on the way. With love and devotion, serve all on the way. And you will meet me one day. You will meet me one day. For that blissful moment, I shall wait. Whose blissful moment? Whose blissful moment that he waits? You see the expression of love, affection. The journey is long, and alone you have to walk with love and devotion, serve all on the way. And you will meet me one day. One day you will come to me. You will meet me one day. For that blissful moment, I shall wait. Who was more interested in our growth than? Not even we. He was more interested in our growth. This is truth, purity. For that blissful moment, I shall wait. That line is really powerful. This journey is long. We have to walk alone. Serve everybody with affection, devotion, love on the way. Makes the journey a little easy. When we serve people with love and devotion, the journey becomes easy, little soothing. Otherwise, it's alone. One day you will reach me. For that blissful moment of you getting to that state, I shall wait. I tell you, if we seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom, this will become a reality. This will become a reality. This will be Guru Dakshina. This will be Guru Dakshina. If we fail to do this, what are we doing? For what these masters came to us? For what have they come? I mean, for what purpose did they come down? Stay around with us, go through all kinds of things. At Tirupati Devasthanam, putting conditions on our masters like this. He lived here with us, right? Imagine, I'm saying. Are they in a position to decide what a Sthita Prajna, a Shrotriya Brahmanishta should do? Yet he was here with us, around this kind of a systems. For that blissful moment, I shall wait. Oh, I love that line. If you only seek His grace, O Lord, we should not make you wait too long. More of the pledge we'll take up tomorrow. We'll conclude it. In India, there are different levels of challenges we have on working to bring this renaissance of Hinduism. There are a few states in India where Hindus are not even majority anymore. People have converted to different faiths. Conversion has different reasons. Some of it could be because we have neglected people, one reason. Some of it could be an enticement, enticing people to give up something and go away. Enticed, so they go in. Some of them are cheated and converted. Some are schemed through marriage, etc., getting people converted. Different methods people have adopted, and that is not correct, and we are fighting a ideological battle. For some of the communities which we have ignored for a very long time, we have taken a kind of work. You'll be really happy to know this. We have an ashram in Chennai on the coast in a place called Uttandi, Tarangani. We have built an ashram called Chinmaya Tarangani, right at the beach, 20 kilometers from Chennai. two sides of our ashram, like 500 meters this side and 1 kilometer or 1.5 kilometers this side, there are fishing villages. We have adopted one village and now we have started our work in another village where we have donated boats to them, nets to them, taught them how to do puja, conducted Navaratri kind of celebration, and regularly our Yuvaveers go there and take classes for Balvihar and Chik. We celebrate Diwali with them, bring the whole family together and do it. And we celebrate Independence Day with them, conduct sports meet for them. So these kids are coming and now we are working on developing them in the art of theatre. Teach them how to perform theatre. We have taken this, a lot of work is going on. In all these places, there are small temples are there. Amman temple, Devi temple, Shiva temple. There are these temples which are there. So we have taken up building Vyasa's shrine in these temples. Veda Vyasa shrine. These are all fishing villages, fishing hamlets. Why Veda Vyasa? Vyasa's mother was a fisherwoman, Satyavati. Satyavati is a fisherwoman. Father is Parashara Rishi. So we tell these fisher folk, Mahavishnu took birth in your family as Vyasa. Without him, there is no compilation of Vedas. Without him, there is no Mahabharata. Without him, there are no 18 Puranas, nor the Puja Vidhi or Brahma Sutra. Whatever we claim to be, Prasthanatraya, compilation of Vedas, from him only Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra. We are what we are because of this person, and that person is born in your family. So do you understand the pride of your heritage to what you belong? So you must teach your children to learn Gita. We will teach you how to learn. Because he is the man who gave it. So we have started even Gita chanting in those fishing hamlets. And we put the shrine there. So 2 shrines we did so far on Guru Purnima, 27th July. We put 2 shrines there. And before Diwali, we want to do 10. Once we did this, the villages nearby, people started coming from other fishing villages. They started coming and saying, please do for us also. The word goes very faster. That they have put, and who is Vyasa? Our heritage, please do for us also. Come here. So we are trying to build a team who will be trained to go and do this work. Taking Balvihar and Yuva Kendra kind of classes, Devi group classes. Devi group is very, very active among the fishing community in these 2 places. We have trained sevaks go there and they do. And they take great pride. So we have done, and we want to put up these 10 temples before Diwali this year. And in that coast, there are 48 such villages. 48 villages are there. In all these villages, we want to put one shrine of Vyasa. Connect these people to them and slowly expand these kind of activities. Once we do a model in one district, this is the vision. Once we do a model in a single district, we can impress upon the authorities and at the higher levels in the government, etc., to consider this module and take it up in other districts. So by this year end, before next Guru Purnima, we want to put up these 48 temples for Veda Vyasa. Some the villagers are willing to build. In some places we need to do. Programs of this kind, which is another thing which Chinmaya Mission has taken up, working at that level is a new initiative we have taken, and it works out quite well. We have seen this. So these kind of projects also needs a kind of a support. Those who want to do something, most welcome. We will use the funds for these kind of programs. So whatever you want to donate, you can say, this is for the university, this is for the Vyasa temple, whatever. We will take this up. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.